The 2006-2007 men's basketball team caught a break one season earlier. It's hard to believe a coach who led the sixth best team turnaround in NBA history would be available, but Jeff Bzdelik found himself looking for a job in his daughter's hospital room, where she was recovering from the removal of a brain tumor.
And I opened up the newspaper because I really didn't know what I was going to do next. And I see that Chris Mooney had left to go to Richmond. So I go, wow. I called up Dr. Mew. I said, would you consider me? And he said, yes. And so the next day they came to talk to me at my house, and then I became the head coach at the Air Force Academy.
Bzdelik is quick to give credit to those who came before him, who built the Falcons into a pretty special team.
First of all, I want to give Joe Scott a lot of credit. I mean, let's face it, I inherited a team that was experienced, talented, selfless, fearless, and so I'm grateful for that. You know, in coaching, sometimes it's like a relay race. You know, you run the first lap, and then you hand the baton off to somebody else. And Joe Scott handed it off to Chris, and Chris handed it off to me. And then you just try and run better, faster, harder to win the race.
Jeff also realized that these cadets were not your normal run-of-the-mill athletes. They were different than other collegiate teams.
And they wouldn't be at the academy if they didn't want a challenge. And they embraced challenges. So from a basketball standpoint, you say, hey, look they deserve to play the very best. Us as coaches, we want to go against the very best too. And so by design, we made the schedule the way we did.
That schedule saw the Falcons knock off in-state bully Colorado, plus Stanford in a tournament that led to a date at a preseason Final Four, which included Duke, Texas Tech, and Marquette. Air Force lost to the 11th-ranked Blue Devils, but topped Bobby Knight's Texas Tech team, and the basketball world started to notice. Colorado Springs turned out in droves to watch them put a 94-58 drubbing on Wake Forest at the World Arena. Then they dismantled George Washington and Santa Clara in winning the Cable Car Classic. The games would get tighter in Mountain West play against familiar foes, but time and again, the Falcons would win.
It's not luck, it's when preparation meets opportunity, and our guys were prepared and the opportunity presented itself, but they were fearless and they embraced those moments.
They embraced them so much that sometimes they even called the plays down the stretch. For instance, in Laramie.
I think we were down one. We only had a second or two on the clock, and we had the ball underneath our own basket. And so as we called a timeout, my brain is thinking, okay, now what play are we going to run here? Because I had a couple of them that I was thinking about. And before I can decide, Jake comes to me and goes, Coach, remember that play we practiced the other day where I slipped and so on and so forth? I go, yeah. He says, let's run that. I said, okay, Jake, let's run it. Just like that. So we go out there and we slip the screen, got a layup, we win the game, everybody's jumping up and down. I said, good call, Jake.
Those types of moments led to the most wins in school history with 26, which included a streak of 13 straight. They finished second in the nation in scoring defense, second also in fewest turnovers per game, set school records in three-pointers made, best field goal percentage at 49%, and most assists with 533, which allowed them to reach a national ranking of 11th, the highest ever for a Falcon basketball team. Despite a late-season skid, the Falcons were invited to play in the National Invitational Tournament, and after dispatching of 3 teams in Clune Arena, they made their way to historic Madison Square Garden, a dream venue for the Final Four. A close loss to Clemson in the semifinals put a marvelous season in the books. Coach says the players who saw the least amount of playing time deserve plenty of credit.
We would not have been the team that we were if it wasn't for them. They came to practice every day and made the guys who played better because they worked so hard in a selfless way to bring out the very best in the guys that did play. Words can't express how much I appreciated them, because they're the ones that really made this team by going to work every single day, pushing the guys who did play.
In the end, great teams are built on great relationships, and Bzdelik says this team had more than enough to go around.
Relationships with my staff, relationships with the players, relationships with just everyone involved. That's what athletics is about, building those relationships and I just want to say I really appreciate everyone that was involved with this team because I had the easiest job.